All right. We are now live. My name is Christine Holliday, and I am the Assistant Director of College Advising at St. Joseph's Academy in St. Louis, Missouri. We're really excited that you all are here this afternoon, particularly on a Sunday, to learn some more about college. So, one, just a big welcome to our virtual college exploration for all Missouri students. This event is sponsored by the Missouri Association for College Admission Counseling and StriveScan. Again, huge thank you for you guys to joining us today. Just a few housekeeping things before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. And in fact, we encourage you to do that. It's going to be how you'll get out of this presentation what you came to get out of it. So please do. Your camera and your microphone are going to remain off throughout the entire presentation. Our presenters will not be able to see or hear you at any point. This is just one of the many different sessions that's happening both today and over the next 3 weeks. So we really encourage you to check out the full schedule at moacac.org. This presentation is being recorded and it will be available in about a week at that exact same website. Again, moacac.org. I'd now like to turn things over to our presenters. Today we have Eric Rowell from Augustana College, Gavin Halpin from Millikan University, and Brock McNinch from Monmouth College. Thanks so much for being here, gentlemen, and I'll turn things over to you.
All right, thank you, Christine. My name is Eric Rowell, and I'm an admissions counselor here at Augustana. Thank you guys very much for joining us. I have two wonderful colleagues of mine, again, Gavin Halpin from Millikan University, and then Brock McNinch from Monmouth. What we wanted to talk to you guys today about is the beauty of a small private liberal arts college, particularly the beauty of a small private liberal arts college in the state of Illinois, as all three of us are here in this wonderful state. And it's great to have opportunities to chat with you. And have an opportunity to explain, if you don't know, some of the differences and some of the benefits, of a small school as it compares to some of the larger institutions that are around us, schools like Mizzou and Illinois and what have you there. So one of the things I wanted to be able to chat with you about is that when you're at a small private liberal arts institution, you have opportunities for small classes. So, many of our institutions will have classes where there's, 20 kids or less per class. So that's just tremendous when it comes down to having opportunities to get to know your faculty very well, get to know your fellow students very well, and build long-lasting friendships and relationships with your faculty. Another is typically at a smaller school, you tend to have higher four-year graduation rates. That's one of the things that we always talk about at our institutions is that when you have smaller classes, when you have greater experiences with your faculty, you tend to be a better student, because particularly you get great attention from your faculty. You get to know your fellow classmates very well in that process. So that's another benefit to being able to be successful during that four-year time span. Another thing I would say is we have very high job placement rates at our institutions. So when you're involved in things like in your career development office, where you're looking for jobs, you're looking for an internship, we have, with smaller students, we have greater opportunities to give you the attention that you need, to help you figure out what major you might want to be considering. Maybe there's opportunities for study abroad or internships. And because of a smaller school environment, we can give you the attention that you might need. So therefore, you have greater success and opportunities of success when it comes down to finding that job, because we can focus on you. We don't have thousands and thousands of kids that are sort of in line with you, taking up a valuable time there. So it's just a wonderful opportunity again with us. I would say another is with a school like Augustana and Millikan and Monmouth, greater financial support is available to you. On average, I'd say there's about roughly 2,000 students or so per our institutions. And because we don't have 30,000 students that we're trying to divide the pot over when it comes down to financial support that we can offer. So one of the best things that we have is being able to offer you, if you're a good student, you work hard, opportunities at grand scholarships and grants that could enable you to be able to attend our institutions there. So we can give a lot more support to a fewer number of people because that's the size of students that we have at our institutions. And lastly, that I wanted to talk about, which is the center of our conversation, is the opportunities to participate in the things that you love, i.e. the arts or athletics. When you have schools like ours, you have greater opportunities to participate in those things. And I'm going to have Gavin and Brock talk about those things in greater detail, so that if you are interested in participating in the arts, or if you play a sport that you love and you have a lot of talent, they're going to give you opportunities to learn how you can participate in those things and not have to major in them or be one of the elites around the country in order to do so. So Gavin, why don't you take it away and talk about the sort of the arts world and allow students to understand what it means to be able to have those opportunities per your institution, but also in general about small private liberal arts colleges.
Absolutely. Give me just a second to share my screen here, folks. Okay, so as Eric said, my name is Gavin Halpin. I am a St. Louis regional recruiter for Millikan University. So Millikan being a small private institution in the middle of Illinois, 2,000 total students. We have a multitude of opportunities within the arts. And so I'm going to give, as Eric said, just kind of an overview of what specifically can be said as an art on a college campus, and pros and cons within there, but also highlighting just the multitude of opportunities, and the biggest thing bringing home that you do not have to major in these on our campuses, which I think is a big selling point. But specifically, it's really personal to myself. When I attended Monmouth College, coincidentally, I came in as a student interested in both instrumental music, but as well as vocal, and had a multitude of options to perform in that, take classes in it, but not having to break away from a major that I was pursuing. So in breaking down the areas of the arts, I will start with the most basic and well-known of art. So the opportunity on a college campus to take specific studio time and professional instruction from the faculty on that campus in truly everything that you can think of in art. So the painting, the drawing, the ability to focus in on even graphic design or multimedia design, taking classes in pottery, and being able to show that work off. On some campuses, there may even be further opportunities. So one of the institutions amongst us in terms of Monmouth has a foundry on campus, and the opportunity to work with molten metal is not something that happens everywhere, but a great opportunity if that is of interest in your creative spirit. But additionally, outside of the opportunity to take classes in those specific areas of art is the opportunity to take class on an art history, or a class specifically highlighting a historical artist and their work, or a specific time period in the art that took place in that time period. So those are options as well. Maybe if you're not somebody who wants to take on the creative spirit, but you want to study the creative spirit, that's something that can be done within your curriculum and still be on your 4-year trajectory while majoring in something else. But one thing was specifically within the art bubble of the arts options on college campuses is it doesn't truly matter your level of expertise. So I had friends, thinking back to my time on a college campus, friends that were like could have majored in art, but they wanted to major in business. And so they were someone who immediately were jumping ahead as far as opportunities and the classes that they could take. But if you're somebody who, I can draw a stick figure and I want to become better, I want to broaden my experience while majoring still in history, that's awesome. There's going to be opportunities for you to have some type of gallery work to show off within your time. The next level of the arts, specifically in the music realm. So music being a little bit different from the art sector in terms of there does have to be some experience or expertise to the table to take part in a variety of ensembles on our college campuses. So specifically amongst the 3 institutions that we're highlighting here, there's dozens upon dozens of ensembles, and that can take part in both the instrumental and the vocal side. Again, it truly just matters based off of your level of interest and the severity to which you want to be taking the necessary steps to show your efforts more. So there are some ensembles that meet less than others. There's some that are viewed as more senior on campus as far as ensembles on both vocal and instrumental. So there are opportunities in the instrumental side, let's say wind ensembles. There are ensembles specifically focused around being the true orchestras. There are percussion ensembles, there are brass bands, there are jazz bands, pep bands. So a wide variety of ensembles, specifically even broken down by instrument at each of our institutions. Again, it's just a matter of what you have free time for and what you're willing to immediately dedicate time to. On the instrumental side, or on the vocal side, excuse me, it's the same thing, where there are some, let's say, the top, largest, and most selective audition choir. Yes, there will be music majors within it, but there are going to be non-music majors as well who are stellar musicians that want to continue singing, are, as Eric mentioned, potentially receiving some type of financial assistance to take part in that ensemble on campus and share their talents and time with the rest of the ensembles. But also there's the opportunity to study in specific music sections. So taking a class on the history of jazz or taking a music history class. So those are options as well that if you are performing and still want to take on something that there at some institutions, there's classes on punk music or rap music. I mean, a variety of genres. There's the overall history of and study on. So you, again, do not have to be a music major to dip your toes into the water within these individual areas, but great amounts of opportunities for you to do so. And then additionally, the third bubble, we'll say, within the arts is theater. So the opportunity, again, to not be a major, and if you're continuing to be a performer and you want to be on stage or behind stage, let's say maybe more on the tech side or stage management, that's something that still non-majors have the opportunity to pursue. But one thing I think is great, again, at all of our institutions and many of the small private ones, is the opportunity within theater to perform on the main stage, but also there are many number of smaller student-run shows that happen throughout each individual academic year. So there's never a shortage of performance opportunities for students specifically interested in the theater side of things, but as well, similar to the two other areas where there would be an opportunity for you to take classes in specific to be trained in the theater realm. So if you wanted to take an acting class, let's say you have no acting experience and that's something you're interested in to fulfill some type of art requirement within your total credits needed to graduate, by all means you could do so. Again, thinking back to my college experience, that's something I had friends that pursued and they got some enjoyment out of it. They were able to release some creative energy they didn't really even know they had. So that's something that you can pursue as well. So those are the three areas when we talk about the arts. I kind of think the top three reasons that we see students continue to be in the arts, Eric kind of gave an overview of as well. Number one for me is you don't have to major in it. So thinking back to my college experience, I knew I wanted to major in communication and public relations. Well, that's great. I also was continuously involved in the choir growing up and was continuously involved in the band. Knowing that I could pursue those, receive a potential fine arts scholarship, and not have to major in it was a plus for me. So that's number one at the top of the list. Number two, it's been a big part of your life. For those of us that are musicians or artists or have acted, it's something that you've probably done for years and years, similar to the athletic piece that Brock will talk about. It's something that you think back to, man, I started doing piano lessons at 5, or I've been singing since, church choir since middle school. Well, that's you've dedicated a lot of sweat equity to that over the years, right? So knowing that you can continue to do that just because it's been a big part of your life gives a true sense of belonging to our students to get that creative energy and get involved across campus. And then number three, I think, is it's a great way to meet people. So you're going to have, even on a smaller campus, a multitude of opportunities based off of what you're involved in or what you're studying to grow your social bubble while on campus, but not excluding even meeting faculty members. It's not uncommon on our campuses to become good friends with your professors or your faculty members. So the opportunity to be an education major and take an art class and become well connected and just jive really well with that individual faculty member to become a reference at a later date is something that is a great opportunity just for the networking piece of higher education. I thought it'd be interesting to lay out for you a day in the life as a student that's interested in a variety of these arts on a college campus. So thinking back to, again, my college experience, so knowing that I was involved in several different music ensembles across campus, a day in the life for myself, let's say Monday. Monday was Music Monday. So my actual academic schedule that did not feature taking any classes in any of the arts was done by noon. So I had all of my classes between the hours of 8 a.m. and noon. And then I had from noon until 4 to do homework, take a nap, go to the rec center, a multitude of things. But from 4 to 4:50, I had a percussion lesson. From 5 to 5:50, I had a chorale rehearsal, which is the top audition choir. Then it was go and get a quick bite to eat for dinner. Then 6:30 to 9 was marching band practice. And then from 9 to 10 was the Scotsmen, which were the all-male a cappella group on campus rehearsal. So yeah, from 4 to 10, that's a large chunk, but that's something that was truly, it was Music Mondays. There was that same schedule didn't exist on Tuesday, didn't exist on Wednesday. Yes, some of those, the choir rehearsed multiple days a week, but knowing that as you look at those individual areas of the arts, so specifically, let's say if you are in a drawing and painting class, you're going to have specific studio time. Yes, you're going to have individual instruction with a faculty member, let's say maybe 2 days a week, but then you're going to have specific time that, hey, this is a space for you to come and work on that painting or work on that drawing that you're specifically focusing on. And then on the theater side of things, let's say you are in a spring musical. Well, depending upon your role within the musical, there's going to be similar to a high school structure where most of the work is going to be done after dinner. After 6 o'clock is when those rehearsals would begin and probably wrap up around the 10 o'clock time frame. There may be multiple times a week, but there's nothing during the day truly unless you had a larger part and were taking an additional voice lesson or something that would require that. But I thought that would be important to break down at the next level what truly a day in the life would look like if you were involved in one of those areas. Another thing that I think is a big proponent of students at small college campuses is they very quickly, the whole campus is home, but our students get a sense of ownership from the spaces that they're doing their work in. So here are examples at each of our institutions. In the example of a performance space for the music side of things, the Foundry that I was talking about, as well as a Center for Theater and Dance. So 3 individual spaces that truly our students feel like are theirs. Even though they're not living there, even though they're not majoring in it, these are places that they feel comfortable going to just have small talk with faculty members in. They feel comfortable going there for maybe study time, even though it's in between where they would have a rehearsal or where they would have a studio time to draw or paint. So the sense of ownership on college campuses, specifically in the arts, is something that I think as well is just a big seller and something that I really enjoyed. And I hear students that pursue Millikan or pursue a smaller experience enjoy knowing that the institution they're having has a specific spot for them to continue to do something they love. So with that, I'll turn it over to Brock now to speak a little bit further on the athletic piece at the small private experience.
All right, thank you, Gavin. That's a great overview of what the arts really are like. And I was an art student myself in college, so it's kind of nice to have that experience run through your mind again. So with the athletics piece here, something that I want to do is kind of go over some of the differences between what a small private school's athletic experience would be like compared to maybe that large Division I school that you see on TV all the time. A lot of times when I'm meeting with students, especially student athletes, their main reference point when it comes to the athletics is what they've seen on TV or what they've heard in the news. So it's nice to be able to explain the differences a little bit and then go into detail with that. So to start off, some of the main differences here, a lot of times with small private institutions, especially within the state of Illinois here, the athletic programs will be within Division III. And so the largest difference between D3 and the other divisions are the scholarships, of course. And that's always almost the first question that I'm asked when a student's visiting with me. So when it comes to the scholarships, Division III schools don't offer them. We're just not able to, at least for athletics. But you'll be able to see scholarships come in from all other places. So as Gavin was talking about the arts, that could be another place that you get scholarship from, especially if you're someone who is both an athlete and an artist, or a musician, or someone in theater. Another thing that would be different, which is a pretty obvious thing, are the facilities. So at a small school, you're not really going to have 10,000 fans in the stand at a football game on Saturday, right? But the facilities that we do have are fantastic. They're top notch, and a lot of times they're being updated constantly. And so I'll mention a couple things with that later. And then also the third kind of main difference here is just the ability to play. So a lot of times if you're looking for, that high level, the D1, like you really competitive, it's going to be difficult for students to get into that realm. A lot of times I will meet students who say, yeah, my dream is to go D1, but it's spring of their senior year and they're still not there. So I want to be able to let you understand that there's tons of other great options, especially at this level. So the first thing that I mentioned, scholarships, I'll get into more detail with, since that's a really important part of especially the college search process in general. So starting off, like I mentioned, the smaller D3 especially schools aren't going to be able to offer those athletic scholarships. So when you're talking to us admission counselors, you'll probably ask once or twice, do you have anything for me? I'm a star cross-country runner, for example. The answer almost always is going to be, no, unfortunately, we don't have scholarships for that specifically. But then we're going to point you into other directions. So are you someone who plays an instrument really well? Do you want to come down to campus and audition and possibly get a scholarship in that way? Are you someone who is fantastic within the classroom? Almost every small school is offering merit scholarships to all of their students when they come in. The ranges will be different, of course, but that is something else that's really helpful. For example, I'll use Monmouth. Every student that comes into the school will receive a Dean's Scholarship. And so these can start off at $22,000 per year, which is huge. So that's going to be a huge piece of financial aid for everyone. Also, something that's really important to know for small schools, especially when working through this financial aid process, is that we don't have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of students to work with through that financial aid process. So if you have questions, you can always come and talk to us in admission, but then you can go and talk individually with people within our financial aid offices throughout the year. So they're going to be able to work one-on-one with you and actually understand what your situation is and help you with financial aid in that way. So you really don't have to rely on athletics as kind of that scholarship builder as you would at maybe a larger institution who really can't focus on every student individually. Another piece here, of course, are the facilities. So I mentioned earlier, you're not really going to see those huge stadiums or anything. But each one of our schools, at least, that I can tell you about, have fantastic facilities for our athletes. So regardless of the size of the building, of course, the court is the same as any institution. The football field is the same length. The tracks are the same length. So the facilities that you're actually using as the athlete are going to be top notch for you. And we're always ensuring that is the case for all of our athletes. While you're in those spaces, they're also not just for the athletes. So if we have some students watching this right now who are thinking, you know what, I play right now, but I don't really want to continue at the varsity level in college. Well, that's totally fine. You can still continue and have that kind of athletic experience without, the total dedication. And you can do that in a few ways. Maybe you just have a, pickup basketball game with your friends in the rec center. Each one of our schools has the opportunity for you to go in and use those spaces. Maybe you also want to join the intramural sports. Go ahead, do that. The spaces are there for our students to use. And then, of course, on top of just the areas for athletic competition, there are fantastic training areas, weight rooms, all of the places that maybe I don't use as much as I probably should, but those are available again to all of our students. So yeah, as an athlete, you'll have your practices, you'll have times where you go in there as a team, you're working out, you're lifting your weights, you're doing, whatever it is for that specific day. But then on the off season, or if you decide not to continue with sports, you're still able to get in there. You're still able to use the exact same equipment that all of our varsity athletes are using. So this stuff is available to everyone and should be used by everyone. Something else that's really important to note about the smaller school athletic experience are the fans. So yeah, sure, you might not be playing on ESPN with 10,000 fans. That's fine. But you will be playing on Saturday with a crowd full of people from the community and from the school who are very invested in your success and the team's success and watching you grow as an athlete. So a lot of times you'll see, you might have your favorite professor watching you in the stands because they have such a great relationship with you from inside the classroom that they also want to support you outside the classroom. You're going to have your group of friends who are outside of your team that want to come and support you. So you'll see them in the student section holding up signs, probably have a giant cutout of your face and really cheering you on. But then you'll also have great support from the community also. So each one of our schools are in kind of different locations. Augustana's in a bit of a larger metro area. Milliken is sort of rural, but sort of metro, kind of in the middle. And then Monmouth here is definitely in a rural small town. But each one of our institutions will get a good draw from the community to come and experience our athletic events and really cheer on our student athletes. So it provides a really great atmosphere for our athletic programs and gives you something to kind of push you on, especially when you're in those games that are just dragging on, and really boosts your morale and gives you that awesome feeling on campus. Something else that's important is the ability to play and be involved with these organizations. So at larger schools especially, they're recruiting their athletes. If you're not recruited, you almost never have that opportunity to get on a team. Sure, you hear about walk-ons every so often, but it's very difficult to do and oftentimes doesn't happen. So when it comes to a smaller school, especially if it's D3, a lot of times there might be teams that are what you would call no cut. So at Monmouth, sure, some of our teams, it's very strict, like, yeah, you've got to meet certain requirements, you've got to make the team, all of that. But there are other programs that maybe don't have the same kind of roster requirements or limitations. So let's take our swim team, for example. If you're someone who is swimming in high school right now and you want to continue with it, but you're kind of afraid that your times aren't super great, that's okay. So at Monmouth, if you wanted to be on that swim team and you just wanted to have a great time with that and continue competing and have that experience, you can. And that's totally fine. They'll take anyone of any ability level. And so you can continue with your studies, your extracurriculars, and you can also be on that swim team and having that experience because you've probably spent 10, 15 years beforehand maybe doing something and you want to continue. Another thing is that a lot of our smaller institutions, even though we're small, we have plenty of sports available to you. So at Monmouth, we have 24 different teams available. I know Augustana and Milliken both have plenty of varsity athletic teams available too. So there's a good variety. It's not like you're tied down to one sport. We'll have students who play multiple sports. I have a couple examples of students who kind of fit the arts and athletics, and one of them, her name is Madison. She's a two-sport athlete, and she's also playing the trumpet in the band. So she plays soccer and lacrosse and has music, and she was also voted the Freshman Woman of the Year last year, which is really cool. And then the other student example that I have here, his name is Mason. He's one of our Scott ambassadors within our admission office. and he plays on our men's lacrosse team, and he's also one of our bagpipers in our traditional bagpipe band. So we've definitely got students who are both athletes, they're in the arts, they're doing multiple sports possibly, and they're really getting involved. So that's a really high level overview of what the athletics are like at a small school. Something that you can do as a student right now if you're interested in being recruited or joining one of the programs at any of our schools is that you can go and reach out to a coach. That's something else that's beneficial for a small school. They have a little bit more time to talk with you one-on-one, try to go through a recruitment process. I know at least for Monmouth, and I'm sure for Milliken and Augustana, there are recruitment forms that you can find online, so you can fill out all of your information. It can go straight to a coach, and then they can reach out to you that way. So if you're interested in getting involved, that's always what I recommend as the first step. Go and fill out those forms and make that connection, and then start a conversation with a coach that way. So that's kind of the athletics at the small schools. We will open up the rest of the time here for all of the questions that you have.
Thanks, Brock. I'm actually answering a question right now in our chat box. Somebody wanted to know what colleges that we are from. So I'm just typing in Augustana College, Milligan University, and Monmouth College as well. But yeah, this is an opportunity to answer any questions that you guys have. If you want to throw those up in the chat room, that'll be great. What's exciting about Augustana and Milliken and Monmouth is that we're all relatively close to each other. Oftentimes we'll play each other in different sports. Milliken and Augustana are in the same conference, so we're actually bitter rivals of each other. But I don't want anything bad to happen to the institution, but they can lose, particularly in basketball, as many games as they want to. I'm actually a women's coach here at Augustana, and I played basketball here at Augustana almost 30 years ago. So, but no, it's wonderful, and the guys are right. When you have institutions where you can participate in the things that you love, and still choose the majors that you want, still be a well-rounded individual, still be a great student. We are, three of those institutions that definitely, take great pride with providing those opportunities for our students. And here at Augustana, we're, ranked in the top 10 of academic All-Americans. So we got great student athletes here, as all three of our institutions do. So these are institutions where you get to do those things that you love. So again, throw up some questions if you got any. And as people are thinking about questions, is there anything Gavin and Brock, that you'd like to add about your institutions that might make you guys a little bit more shinier in the eyes of our participants here, so that maybe they'll apply to Monmouth, Milliken, and Augustana?
Well, it's not really something to add about Monmouth, but you brought up the fact about how many academic All-Americans that you have at Augustana. And it's good to note that, especially at small schools, even if you are an athlete, and yes, that will take up a large part of your time and you'll be dedicated to it, academics are always coming first. So the students here, they understand that. They are doing well within the classroom. Your coaches understand that your academics come first. They make sure that you're doing well. They help you find tutoring if needed. They set up study groups with the team. So the academic part of especially each one of our three institutions is always number one. And then, of course, if you are an athlete, that usually comes in number two, and you can put those together and really have a great experience both within the classroom and on the court or in the pool or on the field. So you'll definitely be able to get that great, fantastic education and then excel within the arts and athletics too.
Yeah, I would just add that we are truly looking for talent at our institutions. We're looking for the quintessential student athlete, somebody that's going to do well in the classroom, but also we like winning. At each one of our institutions, we want to win. So when you think about athletics, we're not just allowing anybody to be on our teams, our varsity NCAA teams. We are recruiting. So if you are interested in participating, athletically, you want to reach out to our coaches. At each of our institutions, there's athletic pages where the recruitment form is there and the coach's information is there as far as their email and phone numbers and things like that. So if you got game video, by all means, send that out. If you got stats, send that out. We want to win as well as much as any D1 team or D2 team as well. You just get greater opportunities to participate at a smaller school than at a larger school. When the larger school primarily is recruiting all over the country and they're looking for the elite talent that is out there, the absolute best. So if you're an All-American, okay, you can do so. But if you're all region, maybe D2 or D3 might be the best spot for you as far as being able to participate. And also when you think about the arts, we're looking for first chair. We're looking for kids who got talent, who can sing a mean soprano or play a mean cello. Not just folks who just happen to like it, but no, you got discernible talent, because our students will perform regionally, nationally, and internationally. So if you want to perform and still major in pre-med or major in social work, you can still do so at our institutions. And that's one of the greatest benefits of a small private liberal arts college, because at bigger schools, those individuals will tell you what you can major in. Those coaches, they'll say, you know what, pre-med seems pretty hard. So how about you do something else and focus on basketball or focus on football or focus on swimming. But at our institutions, you study what you want, and we believe and we expect you to be great at all of it.
I'll talk about just one of the things, so specific at Millikan, I know we're really talking about, especially myself when I was mentioning the selling point of the arts being that you don't have to major, but thinking of at our institutions, we do see a lot of our students pursue double majors or adding on a minor. So we do have at Millikan a College of Fine Arts with a nationally ranked School of Theater and Dance. And we see students that are in our Bachelor of Fine Arts acting major, but are also picking up a music minor or picking up something else. So there are any multitude of students across our campus, but as well as my colleagues here that are, even if they're not majoring in it, they might be minoring in it because they're enjoying that experience so much. But one of the things that I want to highlight as well about the support that happens both on the athletic side, but also on the arts. One of the things I really enjoy at Millikan is if I go on a weekend trip to campus when there's going to be some type of performance from one of our ensembles, but let's say there's also going to be an athletic competition taking place that weekend. It's amazing to see the support that the students give each other. I know Brock mentioned as well, your professors are going to be there. To see kind of the groups of a group of individuals from a residence hall. You're friends, but you're from a multitude of majors. You're from a variety of involvements on campus as well. So very quickly you'll realize, oh, I may have no interest in theater, but my best friend who lives across the hall is going to be performing this weekend. So a group of us on this floor are going to go and support this individual. And that's how it happens on a small campus. That very quickly makes people be like, oh, I don't want to go home because there's so much to do throughout the weekend. Here's a performance. Here's a football game that people are excited to go to. Here's a campus lecture or a basketball game or a student art showcase gallery. So as those things pack up, you realize how supportive the small school environment can be. I always think back again to my time being on a college campus where there was about a group of 5 to 6 business faculty that they had every weekend a rotating schedule where one of them would have a piece of paper in their pocket that said, if there was a volleyball game happening and a football game, and then let's say some type of choir concert that evening, all of them were going to rotate around campus to make sure that they were supporting their students. And they knew from every day working with their students through no TAs that what their students were involved in. So they knew, hey, on Monday I can say, I saw you in volleyball. That was awesome. I don't care that you saw if I was there, but I want you to know that I saw you there and I support you as a student. So those connections, I think, just help strengthen the bond that happens on a small college campus.
Very good, Gavin. We did get another question. And the question was, do colleges, do our institutions particularly, have programs over the summer? So like music programs and things like that. And obviously there's going to be sometimes sports leagues or sports camps that our coaches will run. I know here at Augustana, there are things that we do over the summer. And it's best to contact the admissions counselors to find out specifically what you're looking for. But yes, we do have programming for students to participate in during the summers, particularly if we're relatively close to you distance-wise, where you can come in for a program during the day and go back home there. So it's the same for you guys at Monmouth and Millikan?
Yes. Yeah. And you brought up a point actually that I wrote down previously of it, for any of you who are thinking, okay, well, there's multiple schools I'm looking at and I'm interested in talking to someone in art or someone for lacrosse or someone for a specific interest of yours, and who do I need to contact? In all honesty, the three of us are great points of contact. We are resource gatherers for our students in the recruitment process. So if you're confused at who you should be reaching out to, or if you should be reaching out to faculty directly, reach out to the admission office at the specific school you're looking at, and they can help bridge that gap and set up a potential Zoom meeting or a potential, they'll let you know when we're allowing on-campus visits for you to potentially have a face-to-face with a student in that area interest, or a coach or a faculty member. So utilize the admission office as best you can at your respective schools you're looking at.
I hear often students will come to me with a question. They'll say, I don't know if you know this or not. Well, yeah, we might not know it, but we know who does know it. So always come to us and we can find the answer for you, whether that be connecting you with the right person or getting the answer and letting you know. We can facilitate that. So never be, shy or think that we're not going to know the answer so you don't ask it. Always ask the questions, always come to us. That's almost entirely what we are here to do, is help you with all of your questions. So that's what we're here for.
Great. Christine, if you're still there, one of the things I'd like to do before we sign off, we just got a couple of minutes left. It'd be great if it was possible for the students that are participating with us to have our email addresses. And I don't know if you as a facilitator are able to, or if we're able to type those in right now, so that if they're interested in Monmouth, Millikan, and Augustana to apply or to learn more about us, that they can have our direct contact info.
So there's no easy way to throw that into the chat box because it's been disabled. But what we can do is, if you guys will say it very slowly, I'm going to shut my video off and I'll open up another document, and I literally will type them out for participants. Okay. So give me just a second to open that up.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to assume we can talk now. You said just a second? Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. So I'll go first. So my name is Eric Rowell, E-R-I-C. The last name is R-O-W-E-L-L. You can see that actually with my video there. So my email is my name, Eric Rowell, one word. It can all lower caps. So E-R-I-C, R-O-W-E-L-L at augustana.edu. And what's unique about all of us is that it's .edu at the end. So all you need to do is pretty much type in the college name, and it's right there. Oh, Gavin did it. Look at him. He's so smart. He was able to type his in there. But yeah, that's all you'd have to do for us, guys.
Yeah, mine's ghalpin at millikan.edu. And as well, if you just go to Millikan, Monmouth, or Augustana's web pages, if anything we said sounds of interest to you, our contact info would be listed there as well.
And I threw mine in my name too, so it's bmcninch at monmouthcollege.edu.
Cool. Excellent. Well, I think we're counting down the seconds now before we're supposed to end. So I just wanted to thank you guys, Gavin and Brock, for joining me with this presentation, and Christine for being a wonderful host of this. Students, I hope you guys, maybe with your parents, hopefully you learned a lot about our institutions, You learned a lot about what it means to be interested and possibly enroll at a small private liberal arts institution. We offer great programming, great educational experiences that more than likely will last with you a lifetime. And we are very excited to recruit you and to help you understand what it is that we offer and to help you through the process of enrolling at the college of your choice. So I just wanted to, on behalf of everyone, say thank you for joining us. And we look forward to recruiting you and meeting you and helping you on your path.
So thank you on behalf of MOACAC. So thanks Brock and Eric and Gavin. Students, we thank you for joining us. When you close out of this window, there's going to be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. And we would definitely appreciate any feedback that you'd like to offer either our presenters or for StriveScan or MOACAC on the organization of this fair today. But just as a reminder, once again, this is not the only session that's being offered today, let alone over the next 3 weeks. And you can find more information about the sessions being offered at MOACAC, so that's MOACAC.org. And additionally, in a week or so, this session, this recording will be available on that exact same website. With that, gentlemen, thank you again, and I'm going to go ahead and end our session. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.